Let's talk about something truly wild. Something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, but it's actually hidden deep within the math that runs our universe. What if our entire planet could take a journey through a wormhole? So, imagine this. What if one day the Earth could just vanish? Not in some big catastrophic event, but without a trace, silently.
You know, there's no giant rock hurtling through space to wipe us out. This isn't one of those disaster movies we've all seen 100 times.
And it's not the sun going nuts, no alien death rays, nothing that would tear the planet to pieces in a fiery blaze. Nope. 1 second, we're right here, orbiting the sun, and the next, our entire world is just somewhere else. Now that sounds totally impossible, right? Well, maybe not. See, this whole idea of a silent disappearance isn't magic. It's actually a wild possibility that comes from the very fabric of space-time itself. Physics might just allow for the ultimate vanishing act.
The secret, the culprit, if you will, is a kind of loophole in reality. And it's been hiding in plain sight for over a century, right there in Albert Einstein's famous equations of general relativity.
So what is this cosmic shortcut? Well, it's a concept that's fueled science fiction for decades, but its roots are all in the math. It's all about tunnels in space-time.
Its official name is an Einstein-Rosen bridge. You and I know it as a wormhole. And what's so crazy is that this wasn't just some wild guess. The equations of general relativity didn't just allow for wormholes to exist. In a weird way, they practically predicted them. But of course, there's a big catch.
Yeah, the original wormholes that Einstein and his colleague Nathan Rosen predicted, they're incredibly unstable. Like, the second anything tries to go through one, it collapses instantly. To actually keep a wormhole open long enough to travel through it, you need a special ingredient, something called exotic matter, which has this bizarre property of negative energy. Okay, so let's just pretend for a minute. Let's imagine one of these stable, traversable wormholes is real, and it's headed our way. How would we even know something like that was coming?
Well, our astronomers would be the first to spot it. They'd see something totally impossible. Light from faraway stars would start to bend and warp, almost like looking through a giant magnifying glass. It's a phenomenon called gravitational lensing. But the weird part? There'd be nothing there. No massive planet, no star, no black hole, just an invisible warp in space itself.
And as this thing gets closer, the effects would become terrifyingly real. A year out, maybe the tides get a little bit stronger than usual. 6 months out, our satellites start wobbling in their orbits. By the final day, our entire modern world would grind to a halt as every GPS system on the planet starts to fail. And there's nothing we could do. You can't deflect a warp in the fabric of space.
Okay, so the moment arrives. What would it actually feel like for our entire planet to slide into a wormhole? Well, it would be an experience unlike anything any human has ever imagined. Looking up from Earth, the sky would totally warp. The stars in the direction we're headed would get squeezed together and shift to a bluish color. And the stars we're leaving behind, they'd stretch out and turn red. This isn't some illusion, it's a real physical effect of moving through intensely curved space-time.
Now here's where it gets even weirder. One of the strangest rules of the universe is that gravity actually slows down time. So as Earth gets pulled into the wormhole, time on the side of the planet closer to it would tick just a few microseconds slower than on the far side. It's a tiny, tiny difference at first, but for our globally synchronized systems, it would create chaos.
Which brings us to the big question. Could we even survive this? That difference in gravitational pull across the planet creates what are called tidal forces. And they could absolutely be strong enough to tear our world apart in a process that scientists have gruesomely nicknamed spaghettification. But here's the shocker. The answer from physics is yes, we could survive. If the wormhole is big enough, and we're talking really, really big, the tidal forces would actually be gentle enough for the entire planet to pass through completely unharmed. Survival isn't just a sci-fi dream, it's theoretically possible.
So we made it. We passed through the gate. Earth is now inside the wormhole. But the journey is far from over, and the consequences of what just happened, they're going to be profound.
First, forget everything you've seen in the movies, with the swirling vortexes of color. The reality would be much, much stranger. You wouldn't see a tunnel. Instead, you'd be surrounded by a bizarre, distorted sphere of light. The view of the entire universe outside,
wrapped around you by extreme gravity. And then we pop out the other side, into a completely new part of the cosmos. But we've left our sun behind. Without its gravity to hold us, Earth is now a rogue planet, adrift in the unimaginable cold of deep space. Within weeks, temperatures would plummet, the oceans would freeze solid, and without sunlight, almost all life as we know it would just end.
So, is that it? Is that the end of our story? Well, maybe not. The odds of us just happening to emerge right next to a new, friendly, life-sustaining star are, well, they're astronomically small. But in a universe as vast as ours, impossibly small isn't quite the same thing as zero. So after that incredible, terrifying journey, we have to come back to Earth, so to speak, and ask the biggest question of all. Are any of these hidden tunnels in reality actually out there?
And the honest verdict is, we don't know. We have never ever seen anything that looks like a wormhole. That exotic matter we'd need to keep one stable, we've only ever seen its effects on a tiny subatomic scale. But the math still works. Modern physics still hasn't ruled them out. They remain a possibility.
And that just leaves you with a really profound thought, doesn't it? If wormholes are real, then the entire story of our world, of humanity, could be rewritten. Not by a violent end, but by a silent journey through a hidden backdoor in the cosmos. It's just an incredible reminder that the universe is probably far, far stranger than we can even begin to imagine.